Hello YouTube fans, here again, and I figure why not do this one. I'm very ready to do poll times. I don't really know where to start with poll times. Film is easier, politics is definitely easier, and the news, well, we all know what the news is. But I'm very ready to do poll times, and all the times that I have done poll times, it's either been Doctor Who, it's been Dyers, the classic soap Dyers, and it's been either sci-fi or me talking about something on TV, even though I very rarely watch TV these days. It's either me insulting the BBC, because we all know what I think of them, and so on. But this one's inspired me. It's inspired me because it's been an anniversary of one of the well-known TV soaps, British TV soap, popular on BBC. I'll give you a two. I'll give you a two. Anybody fall in love? Anybody can. That's right, the song by Anita Johnson, who was the star who played Anza. EastEnders. That's right, EastEnders. Not the EastEnders we see now, but we're going all the way back into a lot of photos. All the way back into 1985, when the very first ever EastEnders appeared on our screen. More of the history there, more of the story, more of everything. Why not? Why not? So, 1985, BBC decided to do their own version of a soap. You know, in the days of Denardo or ITV, whatever you want to call it, we had Coronation Street, we had Toss Rolls. In 1981, Channel 4 was a new thing at that time. 1 year after, 1982, we had Brookside, and so on. And the BBC wanted to task in on the trend of soaps. I mean, soaps were never really that big. British soaps I'm on about, not American ones like Dynasty or Fountain Tess or Dyers, but more or less the British ones. So, I mean, this is more like British soaps. So, they decided to have a soap more realistic to life, to pressing. EastEnders. So EastEnders, it was a new thing at that time, and I do actually admit, right, I do actually admit that they had a lot of cheesy spots back in the day. People will type in YouTube and look at how EastEnders first got started in '85. You see, I'm not shitting you see a lot of the actors playing the characters, whether it's Leslie Namtham, whether it's Anita Johnson, whether it's other characters who we sadly don't see anymore, left the soap years ago, making a disappearance and selling the role as that character. And I actually like that. I thought it was clever, it was unique. I do remember one of the openings. Where you've got a fan, it dives the toss, and you've got this word all through the word EastEnders. So they definitely marketed the soap when it first come out in that there. So probably in the end of the month they decided to make this new soap called EastEnders. And so they made it. It was a budget. They had decided to make their own version of the Wolfers Return. I suppose we all know that being the Teen Thick. Then you had all the actors. You had Leslie Namtham. Now, I'm not going to get into the history of Leslie Namtham, but we all know the dark side of Leslie Namtham as Dirty Den. You can look at the history of that. You had Anita Johnson, you had all other actors and characters appear. You know, you had Doc Totten, and you had them all. Then you had the day opening, boo, 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 which later, 1 year after, Anita Johnson would sing her version, Anybody Falls in Love. So your first opening, you've got the door getting boot open, you've got Dirty Den, you've got Arthur, the vanished dead old man. Well, at first you don't know he's dead, but I do know that foils on in the later series of EastEnders, which that's for another day. Well, they must into obstacle. I can't think of the name of the character now. I think it was Alf or some character like that. Well, anyway, this old character called Alf, they find him anyway. They got an obstacle. This is when some of the characters come into it, like Dr. Leg. You've got the original actor that played Mark, may he rest in peace. So like I said, you got the original actor that played Mark, may he rest. You've had Arthur, you've had Pauline, you've had Mo, You had characters who you sadly don't see anymore, some who sadly passed away, and so on. So yeah, EastEnders, like I say, you've got the date scene, you boot the door open. I think it's going to be right one. Rob, that sadly passed away, was it why? And like I say, the team fit. You got the idea that the character Leslie Namford was playing, being Dirty Den, is having it a Ray, which anyone that's seen the soap know he is having it a Ray. You got Michelle, which I believe was not long after she appeared in, if I remember right, not long after she appeared in Chains Hill, the classic kids show, Chains Hill. So, like I say, you got the idea that Sion is the spoiled girls, is the princess of the family. But it's like I say, you got all the take characters, you've got Sion and all the other ones. And you got the idea, you got Nick, who's one of the bad boys, who's a bit of a dick, cheats his mum, who he's got like shit. You got Asin and so on. Who's another character that he runs the Taffy. He runs the Taffy. So yeah, the first opening of EastEnders, I didn't really mind it. And this was the era when BBC was bringing decent stuff out. They were coming up with new ideas. I will miss them days of BBC. I say it again. I will miss the golden days of BBC because back then BBC wasn't garbage. You had comedy shows, you had programs, you had new ideas, and back then, shock, horror, BBC actually had entertainment. I say that again. BBC actually had entertainment, something they are lacking these days. So, like I say, you've got all that going on. The first opening's not that bad. It's just getting to know the characters like Arthur, Pauline, Mark, Nick, which everyone would prefer as Nick the Prick. And you had so on, you had all these characters. You had Ethel, you know what I mean? You had that a lot of the old characters. Some of them were still in EastEnders. Some of them, like I said, were sadly no longer with us. Some have left the show over the years, and so on. So it's not a bad opening as soaps go. So got them in the team thick. Ashleen's having a fight with Nick. And I do love the way Leslie Nantham's Dirty Den says, "What's going on here then, eh? What's going on here? Blood on my shirt, you're bad, you're bad. Look at my blading shirt." Proper Cockney accent. And I like that. I like the bit when Nick backs his fist through the window and then you got the gate opening. So yeah, I don't really mind EastEnders. I think for the first showing, for the first opening of EastEnders, it wasn't a bad show. It wasn't a bad soap, I should say. You know what I mean? The soap went on, you had more better storylines like Michelle getting pregnant, Arthur having a nervous breakdown, the reforce of Den and Anne's there, and so on. So you could definitely see at that point where it was big, you could definitely see that Leslie Namford, Miss Dirty Den, was getting popular in ratings, how the soap protest. And that was the first ever showing of EastEnders. So yeah, EastEnders, I'm not going to give it points. I'm not going to give it points because it's a soap, but it's still on TV today. Rewind back, some of the actors are sadly no longer with us. Some of them have left the show. But for the first opening, that's EastEnders back in '85. I thought I'd talk about it. I mean, nowadays, I don't really watch EastEnders. I think it's either depressing or I just think it's shit. But back then, it was popular. It was known on TV. It used to come out on a Tuesday and a Thursday. And as we know, on a Sunday, you get the ominous of EastEnders or EastEnders, whatever you want to call it. But it done its own London life in a different light. Done its own, we not people that drink tea, eat biscuit. You got people with a Cockney accent. You got people with different accents. So what else can I say? That's EastEnders. But into them, anybody falls in love. See you later.